Hi, welcome to Sabbath School Daily, where we have been studying from this lesson right here, Psalms. This week we're studying from lesson number 5, which has the title, Singing the Lord's Song in a Strange Land, and today is Wednesday's lesson, which has the title, Has His Promise Failed Forevermore? One of the most difficult struggles of life is navigating between the known past, the unknown future, and the apparently never-ending present. The past can be contemplated in whichever speed we desire. Thousands of years, countless events, infinite imagination can pass before our eyes in the blink of an eye. But the present is much more difficult to deal with. It seems to roll on forever. Have you ever had sleepless nights where minutes seem to drag on forever? Part of what makes this hard is that while we can remember the events of the past having happened over the span of years, the minutes of the present seem somehow longer. In Psalm 77, we see the psalmist struggling with this reality. It seems that while God has been ever so active in Israel's past, and even in his own past, it seems that now, in the present, God has disappeared. He's nowhere to be found. It gets to the point where the psalmist begins to doubt God's very presence, his care and mercy, his very character. Look at what Psalm 77, verse 7 through 9 reveals. Will the Lord cast off forever? And will he be favorable no more? Has his mercy ceased forever? Has his promise failed forevermore? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he in anger shut up his tender mercies? This is his torment. Not that God doesn't exist, but where is he? Has he changed? Is he no longer the same God who had done all these wonderful things in the past? This psalm is better understood if we break it down into a few different parts. Look at what the introduction says here in verse 1 through 3. You'll see that you'll find cries of affliction. Jesus himself prayed these kinds of prayers out loud. It says, having offered up prayers and supplications with loud cries and tears to him who is able to save him from death, and was heard because of his piety. Then, in verse 4 through 9, we have the search of the heart. Here we have the insight into deep affliction, with its symptoms and sleeplessness and confusion, but mainly the words of his condition, which is a state of doubt. The problem, friends, is that we forget that God operates on a much higher, greater time frame than we do. He has a perspective that cannot ever be compared to our perspective. While we see trees, he sees the entire forest. While we see the sun, he sees the galaxies. And while we count seconds, God experiences time all at once. That's where remembering his works of old make complete sense, because while we consider it past to us, God dwells eternally in the days of old, the days of now and the days of tomorrow. He does not change. And that means that while we might not understand anything about what is happening, we can fully understand that he is in control. That is the purpose, for example, of prophecy. Not to put on tinfoil hats and guess the future with crystal balls, but to be confident that the same God that revealed the future is absolutely capable of navigating through and carrying out what he has revealed. Look at what John 14:29, for example, reveals about this when it says, "And now I have told you before it comes, that when it does come to pass, you may believe." So remembering the past is a cure for the doubts of the night and the fear and the chaos. He is still the same God, friends. The lesson ends this day beautifully by sharing the assurance that the psalmist receives from God does not consist of explanations about his personal situation, but rather a confirmation of God's faithfulness and trustworthiness, like Job. The psalmist is encouraged to wait on the Lord in faith, knowing that he is the same God who performed miracles in Israel's past. The psalmist also realizes that your footsteps were not known, recognizing God's guidance, even in situations in which his presence is not obvious to human eyes. The psalmist acknowledges that God is simultaneously revealed and hidden, and so he offers praise to the Lord's mysterious and sovereign ways. And so, friends, while we might not understand exactly what's going on, we can be confident that his promises have not failed forevermore. God fulfills his promises, all of them. Maybe not how you expect them to be carried out or to happen, but do know that he is on a much higher perspective than we are. And as such, he knows what has to happen way better than we do. Today's lesson ends with a very interesting question, which is, think about past times when the Lord worked in your life. How can that truth help you deal with whatever you are facing now? Like I've already said, knowing the past, thinking about the past, helps us understand that right now, God is still in control. The God that was is the God to come and is the God it is right now. May the Lord bless you. Remember to study your lesson. Don't forget to look up the Bible text, the verses that are here, answer the questions. That will help you remember what you've learned today, and it will also imprint in your mind the information. Also, remember to comment down below. I love hearing from you. I love hearing your input, your ideas, your questions, your doubts perhaps, your disagreements. That's all part of it. I also want to invite you to like, to share, and to subscribe to our videos. We release one every day, and I hope to see you again here tomorrow for another Sabbath School Daily.